Hello. How are you? Boracay is one of the top destinations in all the Philippines. It's extremely popular to want to come here, and there are some restrictions and some processes that you have to go through in order to come here. So today, by an enormous request of many messages, many people who are confused by the process, I am making this video for all of you. So this is the main jetty port here in Boracay. You'll notice there are boats down below here. These are resorts and some of the private shuttle companies. And then you further down, you can see the main ferries. You can come different ways, kind of all the same thing. You still have to pay the environmental fee, things like that if you are not a local. The entry requirements for Boracay can seem very complicated and very confusing. So, since we went through it and we found it exactly to be that, I thought I would make a video explaining the process and making it easy as possible, within reason, for you to understand and get through the process as fast as possible. The entry requirements are all part of the 2018 rehabilitation program. And before this program was implemented, including locals, there were 70,781 daily visitors to Boracay. Now, with the new limit, it is limited to only 19,215 per day. So that's a significant drop in the amount of people that can come to Boracay. Yet the demand is really high. So it's very important that you get this process right and not get locked out on the other side in Aklan. Of course, the first thing you're going to need is your identification. If you're a Filipino, well, then you need to show your Philippine ID along with your residency proof. If you are a foreigner, well, obviously you need to have your passport ready. Number 2 is your vaccination card. You need an approved vaccination card in order to enter the island, or you can have a negative PCR test that is within 72 hours of arrival. An interesting thing is, if you are bringing your children, if they're aged 12 to 17, they also need a vaccination card or the testing to be done. But for children under the age of 12, there is a special form that you need to fill out. It is called the Certificate of Undertaking. And I'll provide a link to all this down below so that it's easy for you to find everything and get it all filled in. Basically, you're undertaking that your child is healthy and you are assuming the risk and the responsibility of making those claims. You will also need your confirmed booking from your hotel or the establishment that has been approved by the local authority to allow tourists to stay there. This will all be needed. You need all of these documents in PDF form, or take a picture of if you only have a paper copy. The 5th thing you are going to need is your round-trip airfare, or the travel details of where you're going. If you're going to be on the mainland after you leave Boracay, those kind of details will need to be provided to them. Then you take all of this information I just gave you, and you are going to go to the website I'm going to list down below in the description. You will apply for your QR code by uploading all of these things that I just gave you, and then putting in the rest of your personal information. And if you are one of the lucky 19,215 people arriving for that day, you will get your QR code. You must keep in mind, you cannot apply for this QR code until you're within 3 days of your arrival. So be very, very careful on this. Obviously, it would be terrible to get something wrong and get stuck on the other side and your hotel reservation already taken care of, maybe even prepaid. That would be a bit of a problem. And of course, that's not entirely everything. If you're coming to the Philippines as a foreigner, you're gonna need your One Pass. And so you're already gonna probably know that. We're not gonna go into details with that, but that is another QR code you need as a foreigner when you come to the Philippines. If you already are in the Philippines, just to travel from one province to another province or area, some cases, if the province is quite large, you need to have an SPass. And an SPass is all based on what they deem as higher risk, lower risk areas, that kind of thing, and if they're going to approve that. So that is another thing you need to do each time you want to travel to a different area of the Philippines. Again, I'm not going to go through that one. It's actually pretty straightforward. Again, it's an online one. Happy to put the links in the description so that it's easy to find. Specifically though, to Aklan, you will also need a health declaration card, which has a QR code on it as well. I will also put a link in the description. It's kind of like a duplicate sort of thing, but it is required for Aklan, the province. I know this is complicating things, but unfortunately, this is the way it is. When we arrived 6 weeks ago, there was another QR code that was required of us upon landing. It's a tracking app called Trace. The thing is I've spoken to a lot of people who also arrived and they were not asked to do this. And we downloaded it like they required from us at the airport, and not a single soul in 6 weeks has ever asked for it. And so we're not even sure what's up with it. I really don't know. I understand the point of it. It's during the pandemic to be able to track everybody's movements, who you're near and beside and all that. But I don't know anybody else that has it other than us and the people that landed on the plane with us. We were all required in order to pass through the airport. But it doesn't seem to be something that everyone is being asked to do. So just keep in mind, it's a possibility. You'll have to fill in this tracking app and download this app, but maybe not. I'm not too sure. So I know I just complicated things on my uncomplication video, but I just wanted to be straightforward and honest with you. This is something here. So we do have, I believe, 4, 5, 6 QR codes in total for the Philippines right now. But the only one we've ever really needed is the SPass to fly, the health declaration, and of course, the one to get onto the island. And so that is it for today's video. I hope it was helpful for some of you. Maybe you understand a bit better. Maybe I uncomplicated it and unconfused it a little bit for you. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget that like button and subscribe. They're both free, by the way. Love for you to click them. Take care. Bye-bye.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm